Well, apparently you all aren't sick of me yet, so I'm back again for another episode of Road to the Universe. It is me, Jake, again, sponsored athlete, Massive Joe's, and BSN. So I'm here this time, you guys. I'm going to answer questions this whole episode. I posted on my page, Massive Joe's posted on their page, questions for me to answer. So I'm going to go right ahead, get stuck into it. I'm going to spend the whole episode just answering the questions that I got the last couple of days. So Ryan Tricini says, how long is your cut pre-comp and what is your off-season stage weight? My cut pre-comp is usually around about 18 to 20 weeks and my stage weight, off-season weight, it always changes, but at the moment I'm probably about 108 kilos. By the time I compete, I'm hoping to be the high 90s or maybe around about 100. It just depends on, you know, on what my body does and how it looks. Sammy McAllister, what are your thoughts on training to failure versus progressive overload? Well, if you see on all my other videos, I pretty much take every set just to failure without a spotter, and then maybe on the last set of each exercise I'll get a spot and take it past failure. But a lot of the things I do are high volume, not to failure on every set. Ben Trenorden says, after seeing your transformation photo Massive Joe's put up on Insta, that's code word or short for Instagram, I'm wondering the following. What was the reason you first got into competition, and did you ever expect to have the figure you have now? Figure, I think that's a way to describe the way that a girl looks. If you're trying to say I look like a girl, then no. Say, do you have the physique you have now, not figure. Ben, I got into my first comp when I was 18. I wasn't going to compete. I liked training at my local gym with my mates, just having fun. But then I wanted to train in a bodybuilding gym. So I went to Graham Lansfield's gym, and he is an ex-Mr. Universe. I trained there. One of his personal trainers, Mary, that was training there, said, hey, I think you got what it takes to give a comp a try. You know, you've got to do it. Nah, I don't want to do it. I'm not interested. So you've got to do the comp. I really want you to do it. Anyway, I ended up doing it. Cut a long story short, I won my first comp, which was the WFF Teenage Mr. Australia. And then from there, I flew to Germany and won the WFF Teenage Mr. Universe. And it's history since then, you know. I always knew, like I've always been very confident in my body and how it performs and how it looks on stage. Some may say it's cocky, but I've always thought that I can be as good, if not better, than some of the guys that I look up to. Like I see guys like Flex Lewis, a lot of guys that I really admire in the sport. And you know, I do think that I can be at that level. I do think that I can get there. I do think my physique is capable of looking like that. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of how much work I'm going to put into what I'm doing. Some may call it cocky, some may think I'm dreaming, but you know, you have to be confident in everything that you do. And I haven't achieved anything that I've got so far. I never went to any of the comps thinking that I was going to lose. Alright, even some of the comps that I did lose, you know, I didn't go there thinking I was going to lose, because once you do that, you've already lost, haven't you? And slowly things will start to fall apart. So if you go in there confident, gonna win, I'm gonna be the best that I can, that's all you can ask for. And I've done that the whole time. So, you know, after I competed a few times, I did expect that I was gonna look how I look now. I never wanted to compete back in the day, so I never thought that I would be doing this. But once I started, yes, I did think that I was going to look how I look now. I envisioned it, and I'm slowly just working towards that goal. Kim Tran, what are your macros during the beginning stages of a cut, and how does it change 12 weeks, 8 weeks, 4 weeks out, etc.? Do you carb cycle every week? You know what? When I start dieting, Kim, the only thing that changes is, like say 20 weeks out, if I start my diet, I'll cut out junk food first, and just by doing that, ice cream, KFC, McDonald's, pizza, chocolate, you know, all these things. Once I stop doing that, you know, my body weight changes dramatically, and I already start to lose a lot of weight. So then I'll do that. Then the next step, I'll start to add cardio. And once I add cardio, then again, I'll start to lose more body weight again. and then I'll start to maybe bring my carbs down slowly to depending on how I look. And then I can do things like either add more cardio to get my metabolism going more, cycle my carbs, same thing, ignite the fat burning process and keep the metabolism firing. So that's all that really changes. And then maybe a few weeks out from the show, depending on how I look, I might change my red meats or fatty meats to things like fish, a bit leaner white fish, just to get the rest of the body fat off. Jared Lyon says, "Hey Jake, a massive fan of you and your YouTube series. What do you see yourself doing upon retiring from competitive bodybuilding? Are you planning on remaining active in the sport, or as a coach or promoter, you have many other interests or hobbies you'd like to pursue?" Jared, I think I'm still very, very young in this bodybuilding game. I'm 27 years old. I think a lot of the guys are sort of hitting their peak in their 30s, early 30s. So, retiring is something that I haven't even thought of yet. I've got my gym, I've got my personal training studio where I train people. That's my place of business. So, if something was to happen, if I did retire later on down the track, then I'd probably be in my gym here giving back to people as much as I can. And, who knows what's going to happen. I've got some very good sponsorships with Massive Joe's and BSN, and all sorts of opportunities can open up through that. But there's nothing that I really have at the moment. I spend a lot of my time just doing what I'm doing, training and pursuing this. And afterwards, as I said, I got my gym here, and then whatever else comes up on the way, I don't know. Here we go. Zachary Johnson, "Hey Jake, I've heard mixed opinions about this, but when you get close to your comp weight, are people disgusted or are they impressed with your physique? Do you feel like you have to cover up, or do you let the guns show?" That's one thing that took a long time to get used to when I started doing bodybuilding. Because I knew how much work I put into my physique. And hang on a sec. Let me just put my phone on silent. Okay. I knew how much work went into my physique. I knew how hard I had to bust my ass to look how I looked. And to walk, just take a step out in public and people point their finger and say, "Oh, you look horrible," or "You look like this," and it doesn't feel good. And when I first started, I used to let it get to me. I used to say, these people have no idea. They couldn't comprehend how hard I'm working in the gym to get the results that I'm getting. They just straight away just say, "Oh, it must be this, it must be that." They don't want to know about the hard work or how many hours I'm doing, the hours on the treadmill, the hours training in the gym, the hours preparing my food. They just think it's all, just a magic pill or something, and then, automatically you look the way that you do. So I'm used to it now, Zachary. I'm everywhere I go, if I go out in public or I'm getting ready for a comp, if I'm covered in veins and all the muscles are showing, it doesn't worry me anymore. I know that people are probably staring at me and probably saying things, but that's life, isn't it? As soon as you decide to do something that's going to make you stand out from the norm and look different from everybody else, people are going to have their say. People are going to comment, and people are going to want to, as sad as it is, people want to cut you down, to their level. And I don't know if it's a self-esteem issue with people, or if they're just not happy within themselves. I don't know, but a lot of people do say negative things when they see a guy like a bodybuilder, or a lot of guys bigger than me, obviously. So they'd have the same problem. There is a lot of negative feedback that comes along with it, but like I said, that's life. What do? No matter what, everyone's going to say shit about you. So, like I say on my Facebook page when I do some posts about things like that, you just got to live your life and do what you got to do. I love doing this. Other people don't understand. I don't expect them to understand. So, who cares? Life's too short to care what other people think. Just do what makes you happy. Kyle Owen says, "Jake, tips for hamstring growth without excessive deadlifting as to prevent thickness in the waist." Kyle, I don't do deadlifts. People are probably going to shoot me down for this, but I think deadlifts are absolutely unnecessary for bodybuilding. I think it's a stupid exercise, and a lot of the guys I know that own gyms wish that Ronnie Coleman never brought out DVDs that he did lifting what he did with deadlifts, because it seems like everybody now, all they care about is what people can deadlift. And who cares? Who gives a shit what you can deadlift? Deadlift is using your whole body, you know. Alright, if you're doing CrossFit or you're a power lifter, go for it. Do the deadlift, fantastic exercise. You know, that's what you guys need to be doing. But for bodybuilding, I don't understand why you have to do deadlifts. When we're trying to isolate each muscle group. So isolating the lower back is not doing a deadlift. Isolating the lower back is doing a Roman chair hyperextension, or it's doing a deadlift off the rack. So trying to pull 5-6 plates off the floor when all you've done is done a few lat pull down exercises to warm up your back, and then you're going to go straight into an exercise that's going to involve your quads, your hammies, your glutes, you know, all your lower body. It just, for me, it sounds absolutely crazy that people do that, and then they want to go around boasting to their friends that they deadlifted 5 plates off the floor. Who gives a shit? You know, I couldn't care less. Anyone that comes into my gym, we do not do deadlifts at all. I've never done them. I do them off the rack, or I do hyperextensions. I get a much better pump doing them like that, and I don't have to put my back at risk. But most of the guys, you see them that they say they can deadlift 6-7 plates, their form is completely horrible. They round their back and they're working everything but their back. So that's it for that. And for the hamstring growth side of things, really concentrate on it. Lying leg curls, seated leg curls, isolate them. They need to be isolated. And then they're going to get worked when you're doing your squatting and barbell lunges and all that stuff anyway. What else do we have here? Daniel Danga DeWise says, what's your favourite muscle group to train and exercise? Well, they're all my favourite. I love them all. Seriously, I love training every muscle group. Now, how long have I got left on my camera? If I don't look at this, then the camera sometimes shuts itself off. Plenty of time, 11 minutes. That's beautiful. A few more questions, guys, and then we'll end it. Jimmy DeChico says, Jake, do you feel you could have achieved what you have so far if you continued working as a plumber, or would either your training and work have suffered if you tried to balance both? Look, Jimmy, I'm lucky enough now to be in a position where I can focus on my training. I can cook my meals here in my gym. I've got a kitchen, and I can really I can get all of my meals in during the day and not have to stress, and I can rest a little bit too. In between clients, I can sit down, I can rest. I'm not doing a very, very physically active job like I was before when I was plumbing. In saying that, though, you know, if I was doing it and said that I couldn't, it would just be an excuse, because I know plenty of people have kids, they work physical jobs, and they still manage to be very good bodybuilders, successful bodybuilders. So I think if anyone says that they can't do their job and they can't do bodybuilding at the same time, it's bullshit. Because you're in the gym for 1.5 hours, even me, I'm in the gym for 1.5 hours, you know, and that's a lot, just training with weights. And then pre-contest, obviously, you know, maybe I'll do a little bit more cardio, but obviously you just have to prepare your meals, be a lot stricter with your preparations for that day, for those couple of days at work. Prepare your meals for 2 or 3 days, but it can be done. Anything can be done. It just depends on how bad you want it and how far you're willing to go and how hard you're willing to work for it. So, you know, in answering your question, I think I still would have managed it. I still would have worked around it if I was working. But that's just me. I'm that sort of person, you know. I'll make things work. If I really want it bad enough, I'm gonna make it work. Oh, what the hell is going on out there? Oh, God. Interrupting my video. Okay, what else do I have here? I have Tom Lurch says, Jake, do you train in the morning or do you train at night? I train after a couple of meals, Tom, so whatever it works out to, it works out to. I normally like to eat 2 meals before I train. So it might be 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. Pete Gardner, Jake, how does your training adjust coming closer to the show? Higher reps, more sets, or do you keep it the same right through? I keep the weights lifting as heavy as I can, trying to keep as much muscle on my frame as possible. And then when I get ready for the comp, pretty much the diet changes, but the intensity will drop down just a little bit. Only because obviously my joints aren't as lubricated, I'm not eating as much food as I'd normally be eating, so I have to just go a little bit easier on myself with the training. Otherwise, you know, get a tear or pull a muscle. Obviously it's the last thing you want the last few weeks before a show. So definitely got to scale it down a little bit, just the intensity. But I still do the same exercises. I don't do supersets, drop sets, all that sort of thing. Okay. Ben Lee Delimi, Jake, your thoughts on ab training? How do you train yours? How many times per week? I neglected mine in the off season and I'm only implementing them now, 13 weeks out from my first show. Weighted or body weight exercises? I think your core, your abs get a massive workout. Squats, even doing the deadlifts off the rack, tricep push downs, pretty much everything that you do upper body, even when I train biceps, like if you're contracting your abs and things, it's gonna get a workout. So I do not directly work my abs in the off season. Pre-contest, I do not do abs with anything weighted, because the last thing we want to do is build our waist. We don't want to build our obliques, because you don't want them to be thick. You don't want to have that wider waist appearance, because it's going to take away from the whole bodybuilding physique that we all want, which is that small, thin waist. So that's why I just do body weight exercises, probably 12 weeks out, right up until the show. Probably every day, every second day, just some body weight crunches, leg raises, and some pole twists, just to try to bring in the serratus on the side of the abs there. But that's really it for that. What else do we have? Ben Williams says, Jake, I just saw an old episode of Max's Muscle TV with Sam Ioannidis in it. How much do you think it helps to have a good or great training partner? I think I was like 19, 20 in that video. I think I remember the one. I had bleached blonde hair. I was training legs with Sam. I look like a bit of a dick, but Sam taught me heaps. Having a good training partner, or having someone that has done what you want to do, and trains harder than you do, and you have someone to push you. Like Sammy is much older than me, but Sam could still push a lot more than me. He was a veteran of the sport, and he was just a workhorse. And for me, it was unbelievable being able to train with Sam. I learned heaps from Sam, and I wouldn't have been able to do that with a younger training partner my age. Well look, any training partner that I've had, Sammy, Lee, they've all been guys that have done what I want to achieve. They've been there, they know what it takes, and I'm trying to learn and soak in absorb as much information from them as I can. What else we have here? Adam Ducky Kitis says, Jake, do you believe it's good to overtrain your weaknesses? I don't think it's good to overtrain anything, but you're not gonna, like I've said before, you're not gonna overtrain anything if you're eating enough, sleeping enough, but in saying that, you've got to prioritise your weaknesses. So for me, my hamstrings, my calves are weak, so whenever they're not sore, I'm going to train them. So if it works out to twice a week, 3 times a week, once a week, I don't know, it just depends. If they're not sore, I'm going to train them. But more about prioritising them. Like say when I train quads, instead of starting with quads, I'm going to start with hamstrings. Yes, it's quad day, but my hamstrings aren't as good as my quads, so why should I start with quads? People might say, oh, but then you're not going to be able to squat as much when you get to squats, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that. But who cares? I don't care. All I want to do is bring my hamstrings up. So I'm going to hit them first, concentrate on them, and then whatever I get out of quads, I get out. My quads are better than my hamstrings, so it doesn't matter if I'm not squatting as much as I could at the end of the workout. We all have to stop worrying about weights that we're lifting as much. A lot of it has to do with ego. Bodybuilding, leave your ego at the door, okay? Yes, you do have to press good weights, heavy weights, but in good form, okay? So form has a lot to do with it. Okay, that's about it for questions. I've answered pretty much all of the questions there. Otherwise this video is going to go forever and people are going to turn it off. So now another thing I wanted to touch on is FitX is coming up. FitX is not this weekend, the weekend after, and there's going to be absolute heaps going on. So obviously I'm going to be on the booth with BSN. Flex Lewis is going to be on the booth with me as well there. So that's going to be awesome and exciting. And Massive Joe's is going to be there this year. They're exhibiting, they've got a booth. So everybody's got to come by. The stand is G71 to G76. Now Massive Joe's is doing some really cool things. They're releasing, it's going to be the launch of their brand new training bag, Team Massive Joe's training bag. It's going to be the launch of the Team Massive Joe Smart Shaker. So 2 brand new products that people haven't seen before, they're going to be getting launched. Plus, free supplement samples, they're going to be given away for free. You don't even have to pay for them. Just come in and take them. And you don't even have to run away. Just take them. You're more than welcome to. And then apparel giveaways as well. T-shirts. Oh, I'm not sure what they're giving away, but Massive Joe's t-shirts, hats, gloves, socks, undies. Massive Joe's, you name it, they've got it. So all of that sort of things. They've got specials on a lot of the products as well. Mark Lobeliner's coming down. You guys probably see a lot about him on Massive Joe's page. And of course too, there's going to be the white giraffe, and a vanilla gorilla is going to be there somewhere as well. So no, I'm not referring to animals at the Melbourne Zoo. I'm referring to Massive Joe's managing director, Joseph Menzel, and the vanilla gorilla is Steve Mills, and I believe Steve is the sales manager. I think so. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So that's all going to be happening. So come and say hi to all of the guys at Team Massive Joe's, and don't forget to come and say hi to me. I'm going to be on the booth with Flex, the BSN booth, and you know, we're going to do some filming as well for this series. So get the cameras down there, see how I work at FitX. So talking to people, trying to get my meals in, having a bit of fun, of course. So you know, it's going to be a really, really good weekend. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A really big weekend with heaps of, you know, everyone in the industry is going to be there. Plus it's the comp too. There's going to be a bodybuilding comp there. There's going to be lots of pro bodybuilders walking around. So that's it for this episode. I've got nothing else to say. Okay? I will see you in the next episode. Alright? So, alright guys, thank you very much. I'll see you soon.